Okay, we're live. Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, and we're recording on Anchor, the podcasting app that we have that sends our podcast to a bunch of different platforms. As you can see, the lighting is right now a little bit different. It's kind of, first of all, I'm not wearing makeup, so I might look a little bit different, but also I'm using a special light. I'm trying it out. It's got more of like a thing to it, it's more concentrated light in one place. So I'm trying it out, seeing how it works. And hey, Rosemary. Hey, I might be seeing Rosemary soon, so I'm very excited about that. And we're gonna go and sing karaoke, which is really fun. I love karaoke. Hello, Jorge. What up? When I was in undergrad, we had a really cool karaoke bar next to us, and I think it was called like Barney's Beanery or something. And it was so much fun. We would go with, other students or just friends. And the bar was actually owned by a conservative guy. Nobody knew that, of course. I knew it because I knew about all of it. Christopher's asking what my go-to karaoke song is, and that is Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, Bohemian Rhapsody is my go-to karaoke song, and I feel like it's the best one. There isn't a better karaoke song. Hey everybody. Hey Paul. There isn't a better karaoke song than Bohemian Rhapsody, in my opinion. So, yeah. Hey Dan. Dan's watching, Dan Hull. The best lawyer in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has the highest amount of attorneys. And so being a good lawyer in DC is like you're like competing with all these other people. So it's a pretty big thing. And in fact, how many lawyers are in DC? Attorneys in Washington, DC. How many? How many attorneys in Washington, DC? How many? Wow. Apparently, of the bar's 91,685 members, 67,407 are actively practicing law, and 48,638 are actively practicing in the Washington area. Okay, but this is just DC. So for a second I was like, oh my god, only 91,000. That's just in DC. In DC, there are 91,685 practice bar certified attorneys. Okay? Alright. X Pizza says, except Bohemian Rhapsody plays every single karaoke night 3 times. Yeah, that's true. So, yep. Let's see. How many attorneys are there in the United States? There are about 1,300,000, right? About 1,300,000 attorneys. 91,684 are in DC. So I guess it's like maybe like 9% of America's lawyers are in Washington, D.C. Is that fair to say? Like 8 or 9% of America's lawyers are concentrated in Washington, D.C. The Gray says, I finally figured out who you reminded me of, that dancer in Clean Bandit Rockabye video. No shade though. Okay, now I have to look it up. Clean Bandit Rockabye. Oh yeah, is that the one that goes rockabye baby, rockabye? Okay. Let's make sure my... I don't want to play it because then I'm gonna get like a copyright strike. Let's see, where's the dancer? Oh, I see the dancer. Oh my gosh, you think I look like that dancer? She's so hot. Thank you, I'll take it. She's like on the pole. Yeah, I'll take it. I don't think so, but I'll take it. Alright, so since we're on the topic of Washington, D.C., hey Joe! Since we're on the topic of Washington, D.C., let me just double check. Joe says he's at work. Joe, thank you. Joe sent us a super chat. He's at work. Just came to say hello. Good luck at work. Good luck at work. We're all rooting for you. Everybody, send good luck to Joe. He's at work at 11:37 at night. I hope they give you a raise and give you a lot of money. All right. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of Washington, D.C., lawyers and people surviving in DC. Honestly, I'm actually not in DC right now. I'm traveling all over, and part of it is because I needed to get out of DC because just a ton of crazy shit happening in DC. But so part of it was I needed to get out, and part of it is just, you know, DC is great to visit. DC is a great place to, like, you know, network and do certain things, get certain things done, but if you don't have a base somewhere else that is your home, then DC can be really hard because it's not the kind of place that's a home. I wouldn't describe DC as a home to anybody. So if Washington DC is your home, unless your family is there, then you're screwed because you're not going to find like a family in DC. You might find friends. Like, I found some amazing friends that I would describe as my DC family. And in fact, I don't even want to leave DC because of them. But they're eventually going to leave because that's how it is. Anyone who's looking for warmth can't stay there. You can't stay in Washington, D.C. if you're looking for warmth. You're looking for, like, a family type of network. It's really hard to. And anyway, that's why I think anyone who's living in DC needs to have another place that they call home, and you can have an apartment or something in DC. JFNYC says, I love a Trump hotel in DC. That's really famous. Really fancy. Well, it's also famous. It's really fancy. Pick Rook says people don't live in DC longer than 7 years. Yeah, they normally don't. It's really hard to, and it's not just the life itself, but it's also the people who are, like, just the reason why people there is generally not to make friends or generally not to have these, you know, close relationships. They're generally there for other reasons, either activism or power. I mean, power is really, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, political stuff, which is, you know, it sucks the life out of you. So I don't even know why I'm still there. I guess it's because my friends are there at this point. As long as my friends are there, I'm gonna stay there. And when, you know, once my friends leave, I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I don't think my friends are going anywhere. For me, it really is all about friends. Like, I don't care about anything else. People are like, you know, make friends based on politics or whatever. I really don't care. I really only just care about that. And so Paul is saying, have you ever read 48 Laws of Power? I haven't read that, and I really want to. I keep talking about it. Wasn't it 49 Laws of Power? 48, right? But I'm actually reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. If you guys ever, you see this light? You see the light reflection on it? Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And he is a good writer. I think he's pretty good. I just started it, just read the first couple pages, maybe, and just like through the intro, first chapters, whatever. And actually, my friend Howie bought me this book. It's a good book. The only thing I don't like about it is the beginning, the prologue, written by somebody else. I'll tell you who it was written by. The prologue, who was written by some psychiatrist who's like friends with Jordan Peterson. Dr. Norman Doidge. Dr. Norman Doidge, the author of The Brain That Challenged. Yeah, so this psychiatrist guy, Dr. Norman Doidge, who wrote the prologue, I did not like it. It's like just a bunch of fancy words, and it goes like in a circle, and it's like just words that nobody understands, and it just goes in a circle, and it's like a bunch of, and you're just like, you're looking every word up in dictionary, and then you put it together, and you're just like, wow. So this whole sentence that's made of just a bunch of nonsense sounding words that are meant to sound smart, you could have just said it in like 3 words that are just like normal people words. It's just, it's just annoying. I don't like reading. Like good writers, when they write, it doesn't sound like they're genius. Good writers, when they write, they're able to explain it to you as if they're a child explaining something. Even the most complicated idea in the world, they're able to explain it to you as if they're a child explaining something to you. And that's how it should be. That's what a good writer is. Using all these crazy whatever words doesn't make you a good writer. I'm not talking about Jordan Peterson. I'm talking about the guy who wrote the prologue. Just making that clear. Jordan Peterson's pretty good. He's pretty good. I liked his writing style. Very straightforward, makes sense. Apparently he has a strange fascination with lobsters. Lobsters, lawyers, same thing. Yeah. Someone's saying Jordan has a hot daughter. Yes, she is hot. What was her name again? Jordan Peterson's daughter. Michaela Peterson. Yeah, she is hot. Yeah, she also looks a little bit like her dad. Tiny bit, like, can't tell, but yeah, she's really pretty. Alright, and she also has she does her own activism. It's like, food activism. So she talks about like her diet and, how she feels, how she helps her with her mental health, with her diet. So, interesting. MW Expert says, I would love to read your writing someday. Let me know, guys, what you want me to write about, because I've written everything under the sun, and the funny thing is I still don't know. If I had to write a book right now, I still don't know what I would write about. I know a lot of you know what you would write about. I don't know. I have no idea. I've written about science. I've written about new stuff. I've written satire. I've written about myself. Written self-help, whatever, Alright. CFL Mike says some writers are so in love with their own intellect it ruins the read. Yeah, it's really hard for me. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to understand things, to be honest. I read a book and it's so hard. It's already hard for me to read because it takes me a few reads of the same thing to understand it, and then when they use all these crazy long-winded sentences with big words, it's you know what? I'd rather just go watch a movie. TLH says, write a book about being a cam girl. You write a book about being a cam girl, TLH. Alright. So, Paul Nye says, check out Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, 2,000 years old, but timeless advice. Pickrick said, write about your experience on Tinder. That will really sell. I know you're saying it as a joke, but I think it's a good idea. Okay. Alright, book about Tinder incoming. Good night, Mounts Ricklin. Alright, so finally 15 minutes in. Let's talk going not broke in DC. So, I mean, not in DC, anywhere. You just graduated from college. I'll tell you how it was when I just graduated from college. When I graduated from college, I wanted to have this whole idea of a life that I had a whole idea of this life that I wanted. You know, I graduated from college and I graduated from my parents' house at the same time. So I had this whole idea of what I wanted from my life and how I wanted my life to be, and I was so obsessed with like shaping it up the way I wanted. I would have my own place. I would have this special, you know, this job that I like. I would go shopping and buy my own clothes. I would like have my own, like, you know, I would decorate my place by myself, and I would just, you know, go and eat out by myself because I'm so fly, because I'm an adult and I graduated from college, and I also live by myself. So I'm basically like so cool. So I had this whole idea of things I wanted to do, and these things costed money. So I was working like a normal paying job. You know, it was a pretty good paying job to have right out of college. So I was lucky. But of course I spent everything on this perfect idealized lifestyle that I had for myself. And I ended up paying a lot on apartment, and, you know, like, you know, everything. I ended up paying a lot. Pickrick's letter says, these are ideals of 14 to 18-year-old. Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't leave my parents' house. I didn't go and live another place for college. I developed a little later, so I didn't leave my parents' house until I just graduated from college. And this isn't so long ago, to be honest. So, like, over the past couple years, I learned a lot of things the hard way. And what I learned is that you can never be cheap enough when you just graduated from college. You can never budget hard enough, because like you're starting off new, you're starting off with nothing, and all you could do is like save. AOC Parody says, I just turned 18 and I don't think like this. 19. Yeah, you're definitely much more mature than I am. Because for me, it's like I had this whole perfect idea of how I wanted to live. Yeah, so basically, I went broke like multiple times, and not only did I go broke, I also went in debt multiple times. So it was kind of a shit show. And I wasn't taking money from my parents because part of my idea, you know, also I wasn't taking money. I always had enough money. I didn't need money from my parents because I was always working when I lived at home. But even when I was living on my own, I still didn't ask my parents for money, even when I was in debt, because I just wasn't used to it. And also, it was like, I'm an adult now. Why would I ask for money from my parents? If you're in debt and you're hungry and your things are going to shit, if you ask your parents for help, they will help you. If you don't have parents, then ask somebody for help. There's always somebody out in the world that you can ask for help. And you know, you might be like, no, who will help me? Nobody will help me. There are ways other than I will tell you what. So, first of all, live small. That's the first thing I would tell you to do. Right now, the place that I'm just moving to, because my living situation keeps changing and I keep moving to a new place. So now the new place that I'm living at is half the price of what I was living in when I first moved to DC. Funny, isn't it? Because when I first moved to DC, I was like just graduated from college, making less money, and so you would think that I was gonna pay less, but no. I had to live in my own. Actually, I wasn't living in my own place when I first moved here, but I still to DC one. But I still was paying a lot because I was living in like a great part of DC. Anyways, I'm spending half of what I was paying before, and even that doesn't seem cheap enough to me. When you just move out of college, look for the cheapest living situation. Share a place, share a room, just share your living space with somebody else. It's not worth it. Pay the smallest rent as possible. Smallest possible rent. Okay, have a food budget. Every day you won't go over X amount of money. Know how much you're gonna have per month. Have like a baseline. Know how much you're gonna have per month. Don't spend over a certain amount. Don't spend time with spenders. Don't be around other kids who spend a lot of money, because then you're gonna feel peer pressured to spend a lot of money. And if you do spend time around kids with a lot of money, don't be susceptible to peer pressure. Don't be the kind of person who, just because everybody else is splurging on drinks and food and this and that, you're gonna do that too. Don't be that person. Also, don't drink drinks out. Don't have drinks at bars. Buy your own beer at like Safeway or whatever your market is in town. Go buy your own drinks. And what when I started to become a little better at budgeting, what we would do is like take our own, and this is kind of, people don't like it when you do this, and people will be like, oh no, ew, that's so gross, why would you do that? But a lot of us would like take pour whatever our drink of choice is, put it in a bottle and take it with us places. Whatever. You don't have to do that, but that's the whole idea, is basically don't drink at bars, because you don't need to. All right. Next. Okay. All right. Next. 1 second. Something's up with my batteries. TLH says PewDiePie just saved $50,000. Beer Snob says have little to no fun. Stop doing anything. Don't stop doing anything. Don't have no fun. First of all, living with other people can be a lot of fun. Living with other people means that you're living with a lot of people can be a lot of fun. Other people. Doesn't have to be a lot of people, just other people, okay? Living by yourself is lonely. Why would you want to live by yourself? I mean, I did it because it made me feel cool like an adult, but it wasn't fun. 1 second. I'm just going to put something in. I'm going to put this in the charger. All right. I just put my computer charger. Okay. So I'm not telling you not to have fun. I'm just telling you to be smart with your money. Don't spend more than a certain amount on food. Have a budget for yourself. You don't have to drink at a bar. You can pregame at a friend's house. You can drink at a friend's house. Or another thing people do in DC, a lot of people do this, a lot of young people do this, is they'll go hang out at the Trump Hotel. They'll hang out at Trump Hotel. They will drink, other people will buy them fancy drinks, or they just won't have the really expensive drinks. And then afterwards, they'll go have their own drinks at this place called Harry's. It's like a smaller bar that is really cheap. And that's where they'll have their drinks. So just be careful where you spend your money, and you can have a lot of fun. Pre-game at a friend's house. Also, like, if you're a girl, let people buy your drinks. See, this advice is like, it's like your mom isn't gonna give you this advice, but whatever. This is what I'm telling you to do. If you're a girl, you don't have to pay for your own drinks. Let somebody else buy your drink, but no matter what, don't stay. Let somebody else buy your drink, some person who's silly enough to pay for your drink, and then leave. And if you're a guy, don't pay for girls' drinks, okay? If you're a guy, don't pay for girls' drinks. If you're a girl, drink and then leave, okay? Because you shouldn't be spending, people spend way too much money on drinking. It's stupid. And you don't need to. Drinking is not a necessity. Okay? So, of course you can have fun. Whoever is saying that I'm endorsing no fun is not right. There's so many ways to have fun without spending a lot of money. Okay. Don't take Ubers. Don't take Ubers or Lyfts. Take the metro. Walk. I don't know why I'm saying wash. Take the metro or walk. You don't need Ubers. Let other people pay for stuff if they offer. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not spending X amount. If you're with somebody who's a big spender or who wants to ride in an Uber instead of taking the metro, tell them, you know what? I would rather take the metro because I can't, taking an Uber goes over my budget. So I'm gonna take the metro, you can take the Uber, we'll meet at whatever place we're at. And that person may offer to say, no, I'll pay for your Uber, come with me. Or that person might just let you take the metro, which is fine. Either way is fine. You're not paying for Uber, that's stupid. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to set your limits in front of other people, okay? And for yourself. Nate says if you agree to ride Uber with other passengers, it is way cheaper. That's true in many cases. So, but then there's the tip. Like if you feel comfortable not tipping, then like, okay. Mr. Food says Uber has bed bugs. Oh my gosh, that's gross. I'm sorry you got bed bugs from your Uber. CFL says bring your own bottle and get smashed in the parking lot. Saves a ton. Yeah, I had a girl in my Uber pee herself. She was really drunk. All right. Metro everywhere or walk. Don't drink out or buy drinks from supermarket. Avoid spending time with spenders. Don't be ashamed to not spend. And don't oftentimes you'll need to spend time with spenders because you still want to network, you still want to be around people, still be hanging around other people. Don't not hang out with other people. Just don't adopt the spending habit of spenders, because if someone is a big spender, either they're broke and they're influencing you with bad spending habits, or they're really rich, get money from their parents, or they have a great paying job, and whichever one it is, you don't want to be either, because you're not endlessly rich. And if you're endlessly rich, you should still be listening to me, because if you're endlessly rich, eventually you need to grow up, and you're not gonna be always, your parents won't always be giving you money. So eventually you're gonna need to eventually it's gonna help if you figure this out. Lion Tiger says, why not ditch alcohol altogether? Yeah, that's true. I live in Washington, D.C. right now. In D.C., alcohol is kind of like a necessity. It's treated as that, and it's like you can't really go out and spend time with people without alcohol, which is really sad. But it's just the way it is. So that's why that's why I'm like telling you ways to save on alcohol, because it's just like, it's like in DC, it's kind of like a given that you're gonna be drinking a lot. All right. Apparently there's a lot of ADL stuff. Apparently, I mean, a lot of people in the comments are mentioning ADL. ADL versus PewDiePie. What happened? I saw PewDiePie was in the news. I don't know why. Okay, so PewDiePie pulls $50,000 pledge to ADL after fan backlash. So PewDiePie was donating $50,000 to the ADL, and then fans criticized him for okay. All right, I'm gonna read this article from The Verge. PewDiePie is pulling his Felix Kjelberg, whatever his last name is, pulling his $50,000 pledge to the Anti-Defamation League after his initial announcement drew backlash from parts of his fan base. Alright. In a video uploaded today, Kjelberg says he didn't know much about the ADL when he made the pledge. It was only after uploading the video and seeing the feedback about the organization that he admitted he didn't know a lot of things that surfaced throughout his whole thing about the charity. He made the original announcement during an unboxing of a special YouTube play button to celebrate surpassing 100 million subscribers. He says, "I made the mistake of picking a charity that I was advised to instead of picking a charity that I'm personally passionate about." He says it's 100% my fault. Previously, PewDiePie addressed the criticism against his donation in a recently deleted tweet, acknowledging that making a donation to the ADL doesn't make sense to everyone, especially since they've outright spoken against me. A spokesperson for the ADL told The Verge that the time that they learned about the potential donation when everyone else did, when he made the announcement on his channel yesterday. Alright, what do I think about the ADL? The ADL sucks. You know what? I'm Jewish. I don't like anti-Semitism. I don't like Jew hating. But ADL is pure scum. And they do it in the name of anti-Semitism, whatever. They're ruining people's lives. These people are making money from anti-Semitism. That's how these people are making money. From the concept of anti-Semitism. They're telling they go around to Jews, they go around to the Jewish community. First of all, anti-Semitism is the number of people who really in their hearts really hate Jews in America is not as big as it's not as big as people think. There's a lot of trolling, there's a lot of trying to incite the ADL or whatever, but they overly exaggerate. They will call anything anti-Semitism. They will pick out anti-Semitism where it doesn't exist. And they'll do that because they make money that way. They make money if they go to these, the Jewish community tends to be very wealthy, right? That's the way it is. Jews have Jews tend to be very community oriented, so they'll stick together. They're emphasize heavily on learning, getting good jobs, making a lot of money. That's like a thing, right? So they'll go to these rich Jewish communities, and they will come out with all these look, this person is even anti-Semitic, and this big person is anti-Semitic, and this person, and they will try to create a narrative of anti-Semitism where it really doesn't exist. How can you tell what somebody feels in their heart? How can you go and somebody says something that can be used against them as anti-Semitism, quote unquote, and so you'll use that to say, oh, well, this person hates Jews. You know what? No, how do you know that? How do you know that this person in their heart hates Jews? First of all, you can't tell that. And second of all, even objectively, a lot of the things they pick on is just total BS. You know what I mean? So, but they make a lot of money doing this. They make a lot of money scaring people into giving them money. They'll go to these rich Jewish communities and they'll convince them that the whole world hates them, when in reality it's not true. And it's taking advantage. It really is taking advantage of people. It's taking advantage of Jewish money. That's what it's taking advantage of. People who don't know any better, they just have a lot of money and they're like, made to believe that everybody hates them, so they should give money to help stop this, right? And then they're also taking advantage of, they're just destroying the lives of just people who don't deserve for their lives to be destroyed. And they're just destroying people's lives. There is nothing good about the ADL. There is no way that I'm gonna defend them in any way. And so, good for PewDiePie. Thank you, Fardy. I think Fardy sent me thank you for the super chat. And I think Fardy sent me a super chat so that I should say Fardy on my live stream. That's why. All right, CFL Mike says only God knows where your heart is, not some organization. Yeah, exactly. I mean, how do these people know what's in your heart? And PewDiePie, PewDiePie is PewDiePie. Like, why does he care about like Jew hating? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the whole ADL is garbage. Okay. And I've spoken out about ADL before, and then of course, I've spoken out about ADL before, and of course, I was called anti-Semitic online, and it literally just proved my point. They actually called a Jewish person anti-Semitic for calling them out. Without even trying to understand what I was saying. I was saying they're preying on Jews, rich Jews who don't know any better. They're preying on those people for their money, and so of course when I say that, I'm called anti-Semitic. Okay. So good for PewDiePie for attracting his donation to the ADL. Nobody should donate to the ADL because they're garbage. Okay. So, how to not go broke. Don't donate to the ADL. All right. Okay. So you have credit cards. So budget really hard, and save like crazy. Just keep saving. Just keep saving money. And that's a big thing. I didn't save when I first left college, and I should have. So once saving is not about I need to save for something. I need to save so I can buy a house. I need to save to do this or that. Saving is you're saving so you have a cushion. Once you have a cushion, you are operating less out of desperation and more from a place of strength. So when you save, if you have money in your savings, then when someone gives you a job offer, you don't take it out of desperation. You take it because it's a good job for you. You don't take just any salary. You always ask for higher than you're worth. And I'm saying this because most young people don't know how much they're worth. Men probably are better at knowing how much they're worth. Women, like, I mean, women will ask for so much lower. It's crazy. And then they'll be like, oh, why did I pay lower? Well, I mean, with me, I have asked for so much lower than my worth, and then I'd find out that the guys are getting paid 3 times as much as me, with less experience, with no college degrees. They're getting paid 3 times as much as me for doing the same thing, and it's just infuriating once you find that out. And so you always have to ask for, so when I asked those guys, like, how do you get paid that much? They're like, well, I just asked. I said, I want X amount of money. And they'll give it to you because you put this high price on yourself. They want a high price person. So if you're a woman, don't ask for your worth. Ask for a lot higher than your worth. Okay? That's what you should do if you're a woman. If you're a man, same thing if you're a man, but I think men are better at doing this. So, and I'm in business school. Someone's asking what I'm studying. I'm in business school. And so, yeah, the older I get, the more I realize about, just always ask for higher than your worth. Hey, get in. Alright. There is a conversation about Ashkenazi versus Sephardic Jews in the comments. It's really interesting to me. I'm Sephardic, so these comments, sometimes like the comment section, sometimes the comment section, it's like this whole conversation, these conversations, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. It's like you guys can continue having your conversations. No, not to interrupt. Okay. All right. Another thing. Why did I go into that whole thing? Another thing is credit cards. Credit cards. I love talking about credit cards. Okay, so I'm kind of on the verge of being a credit card shopper. I keep signing up for more credit cards. And that's a good thing because that's a good thing. Having more credit cards is a good thing. Mark Cuban says, if you have credit cards, you won't become rich. That's not true. Credit cards can be great. Credit cards can make you have high credit score, which can make you do a lot of things. Make you buy a house with lower mortgage. You can buy a car. You can have, like, there's so much you can do with a high credit score, and you want a high credit score. Everybody wants a high credit score. I'm not saying that you should have debt. In fact, you should not have any balance in your credit cards. I don't have any in my credit cards. I pay off my credit card bills right away. I pay off as soon as I have money in my credit card bills, I kind of like OCD even. Like, I'm constantly checking my credit card accounts, and I'm constantly paying off my bills. And when I say I have more credit cards, I'll tell you why I have multiple credit cards. You don't need to have multiple credit cards, but I'll tell you why I have multiple credit cards. So first of all, I pay off my bills right away, no matter what happens. And I don't, if you're the kind of person who can't do that, if you're the kind of person who sees credit cards as like, oh, I can spend unlimited, then you shouldn't get credit cards. You shouldn't even have one. But if you're not the kind of person, then if you're like me, then you should have, then it's good to have credit cards because there's a lot you can do with credit cards. First of all, a lot of credit cards offer rewards. Those are the ones I'd go for. The Chase Sapphire card is the best. Chase Sapphire card. I think it's, let's see what the Chase Sapphire card is. The Chase Sapphire card, let's see. Chase Sapphire. I forgot how much you have to spend in the first 3 months. I think you have to spend like $4,000. Yeah, it's like $4,000 in the first 3 months. Okay. Once you spend that much, you get like 50,000 points, travel points, and that gets you like $700. I think it's like $700. I think it's like, yeah, $700 travel. I use it to travel. I spent it on a bunch of other things. Okay, 60,000 points. After you spend $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months from account opening, that's $750 toward travel when you redeem through Chase Ultimate Rewards. That's pretty awesome. And there's so much you can do with Chase credit card. You get points back. You get 2 points back on anything that you spend travel and dining. You get a point back on $1 spent on anything else. I think it's pretty good. Chase Sapphire card is great. You have to have a good credit to get a Chase Sapphire card. So I like credit cards with rewards because I like to travel and I don't want to be spending money on traveling. So if I'm spending money anyway, I might as well spend it with a credit card. And since I pay things right away, so I'm not going to go into debt with credit cards. I know myself. So I'd rather just have a credit card company pay for my travels. Chase Sapphire card does that. The Capital One Venture card, which I just started having, Capital One Venture card, that one does that too. The Capital One Venture card is like also, I think, $60,000. You have to spend it's like the same thing. You spend $4,000, $750 in rewards. It's great. Also, the Freedom Unlimited card, that one you can use together with a Chase Sapphire, because the Freedom Unlimited card, instead of giving you instead of giving you 1 point for every dollar you spend, it gives you 1.5 points for every dollar you spend. So, except for travel and dining, which you should use your Chase Sapphire card for, everything else you should use your Freedom Unlimited card for, because that's 1.5 points back on every dollar you spend. So the Freedom Unlimited card, and also the Freedom Unlimited card, I think that one also, yeah, 3% in the first year. Okay, 3% cash. So anyway, so you get points on your Freedom Unlimited card, right? But don't get the cash back. Instead of doing that, transfer your points, because Chase allows you to do this. Transfer the points you get from your Freedom Unlimited card to your Chase Sapphire card, so that your Sapphire card once you use your Sapphire card, you get 25% more if you spend it on travel. So transfer your points. So spend multiple Chase cards depending on how much they benefit you, but then transfer all your points to the Sapphire, because the Sapphire is what's going to give you the best reward on travel. And this is all if you are into travel. If you don't travel, you don't plan on traveling, if you don't plan on traveling, then just ignore this, because I like to travel. So and it's not just travel, it lets you spend that money on like hotels. Also, it lets you spend the money on rentals, car rentals. So basically all of those things, you're gonna get a higher return if you use it for travel in Chase Sapphire. If you don't want to do travel, then go for the credit cards that give you money back. Give you $200 for opening this account. Why not? Shouldn't you get $200, you open an account, your credit score goes higher because you've got a higher credit limit. So it's kind of like a win-win. Just don't this is all for people who don't spend money on who aren't debt rackers, don't spend and then not pay back their credit cards. Okay, I'm talking about credit cards. Someone is saying that he or she is $80,000 in debt because of college. If you're in debt because of college, then that sucks. It sucks to be in debt, and that also affects your credit score. But you can bring up your credit score really well. First of all, try and apply for as many. It's hard to get. Let me tell you what to do about your credit card debt. First of all, it's hard to find grants that will pay you back your college loans. There are a lot of grants like college grants that will pay for your college tuition if you apply for them and you win or whatever. But there aren't a lot of grants that will pay for your loans. If you want someone to pay off your loans, first of all, if you start paying off your loans, it really will help your credit score. So that's one great thing about. I'm not gonna say debt is good. Debt is bad, okay? But if it makes you feel better about your college debt, just know that when you pay off your college debt, your credit score increases like no tomorrow. It really works, and it really helps you build up your credit. So if you have, paying every month, it really is going to help you. So if it makes you feel better about being in debt because of college. Another thing is that it's really hard to find programs that will pay for your college. So one thing that you could do, and I know it's going to sound crazy, but it's not that crazy if you think about it, you can work for the government. You can join the army. There are certain jobs in the government, anything that's kind of military related. When you take those kind of jobs, a lot of those jobs will forgive your loans, they will basically pay off your loans. They will waive, if it's federal loans, if that's what you got, federal loans, they will waive it for you, which is amazing. That's actually that's what a lot of people do. So that's what I would recommend. You don't have to work for the government. You don't have to work for the government forever. You don't have to be in the military forever. You just long enough that you can benefit from it. They'll help you with your health insurance, which is also a big cost. Work for someone that's going to help you with your health insurance, not just your salary, because even if you have a great salary, if you have to pay for your health insurance, the costs add up. So all right, so definitely pay, definitely working for the government I think is good, because there's so many benefits there. Also, another thing about being in the military is you don't have to when you're in the army, you don't have to, even afterwards, you don't have to put a down payment on a house. Even after your FHA, like your first house or whatever, no matter what happens, you basically can buy multiple houses without a down payment, which is really, really amazing. Don't make the army your career. Use the army as a tool, okay? All right. What else? Citibank is also another credit card that I would recommend. Also, by the way, oh my gosh, a bunch of people in the comments saying that I work for the CIA. Guys, this is not the first time someone has accused me of working for the CIA. I've been accused many times, and I'm like, I'm like actually fine with it because it means that you think I'm smart enough to like be doing that at the same time as being in college and doing all this shit. But also, I've like literally been kicked out of groups because like I've literally been kicked out of this one group because, and they like all cut me off and like blocked me on everything just because they thought I worked for the CIA. Just because like, I don't know. It's stupid. But I mean but I'll take it. I'll take it. Because it makes me feel smart. It makes me feel smart. It makes me feel like a smart female James Bond. Okay. It is really hard. I mean, it is. I know a lot of people who work in the intelligence community. There's a lot of them in DC, and it's really hard to be able to. It's really hard to get into a place like the CIA or any other IC agency. You know that they do a lot of work that you need brains for, and it's hard to. And they require a lot of qualifications. Nate says you should join. They want Farsi speakers. Okay, so I would definitely pay for my college loans. That's for sure. I actually don't have college loans. I've got graduate loans. So one other thing that I want to mention about Chase credit cards, get your Chase credit cards before anything else. And there are Chase credit cards that give you money to start off with, because I know a lot of people when they just graduated from college, they don't spend a lot. So these things like, you know, if you pay $4,000 in 3 months, some people don't pay $4,000 in 3 months. So if you're one of those people who doesn't even spend that much, doesn't even spend $4,000, then you might be better off starting off with these, you know, credit cards that give you just give you cash, free cash to open a credit card. And not with no strings attached. Not, oh, you get credit at our store. No. It has to be free cash. No strings attached. So Chase has some of those cards. Try to always go with Chase cards first, because Chase Bank has a rule. Chase is very snobby about the way that they do their credit cards. They want high credit. It's kind of like a club. If you get accepted, it's like, whoa, you got a Chase card, right? And the thing about Chase is they don't want you to have applied for more than 5 credit cards in the past 2 years. So if you've applied for 5, I think it's 5 or more, you know, or 5 credit cards in the past 2 years, they will not accept you. But if you open up a business bank account, then it starts new. If you open up a business bank account, they will still base, and if you open up a business bank account, first of all, get incorporated as early as possible, because it's great. When you get incorporated, you can okay, I'll tell you. When you use a business bank account, your business credit card will not count towards your 5 credit cards your personal credit cards. So you can actually open a new Chase bank account even if you open up 5 in the past 2 years. You can still open up another Chase account on your business bank account, because that starts new if you do that, if that makes sense. Good night, Paul. Sweet dreams. I know it's getting late. It's past a lot of people's bedtimes. So definitely. So you can open up a new Chase card on your business account, and you'll be fine, and they'll still accept it, because it's not on your personal record of credit cards. But it still will depend on your personal credit score. So if you have a shitty personal credit score, which I have right now because of a few reasons. My credit score has dunked, very low, has plummeted, okay? So, but it's going back up, and all right. Right. Another thing, work in the restaurant industry. Working in the restaurant industry can be a lot of fun, okay? Working in the restaurant industry gives you a lot of valuable skills that you wouldn't have gained anywhere else. 1 second, all right. Working in the credit card industry is working in the food industry is going to give you a lot of skills that you wouldn't have gained anywhere else. It's fun, you gain people skills, you hang out with people, and you get to kind of modify your schedule. You get to have a little bit of a more flexible schedule than if you had a standard 9-to-5 job. You get to have, you get to choose, morning shift, night shift. Sometimes you don't choose, but it's still more flexible. It's still, it's still a more fun schedule. So definitely try and work in the restaurant industry. I know a lot of people when they move out of their parents' house, they're just like, ew. If they grew up, I know a lot of people in DC, especially because it's an expensive place. A lot of people from well-to-do families are there, and they'll be like, ew, no, I'm broke and I need money, but there's no way I'm going to work in the food industry. Ew, there's no way I'm gonna have a job like that. I remember when I started working at a restaurant in DC, there were people who would come in and be like, oh no, you're working in a restaurant? Oh no. I was getting all sorts of comments. You really fell low. Oh, this is so sad. You're working at a restaurant. It's the way that people in DC treat restaurant work, they would rather go broke and go in massive debt than to work at a restaurant. And it's stupid, because working at a restaurant is really helpful. A lot of the money you take, you don't end up paying taxes on, which you should be, but it won't get documented because a lot of it is cash. So you get to basically just take it home. These restaurants, most of them won't document your cash tips. You literally get to keep your cash tips, and the restaurant won't even document it. Nobody will know. And people will tip you. You learn to be good natured, provide good service, and people tip you. I know I complain about tipping when you're cashier, but as a server you can expect tips as a server, because that's where you're getting all your money from. So definitely work at a restaurant. You make money. Some restaurants you make a lot of money. I mean, there are some people who, as bartenders, are making 6-figure salaries. There's no joke in this. You can make good money from working at a restaurant. Try to be a bartender. So try to move up and be a bartender, because those people are making the most money, not the servers. But you're still gonna make okay money as a server, depending on where you are. So work in the restaurant. A lot of restaurants are competitive. They want you to have previous experience in the industry. So maybe go work a couple weeks in I don't know, Burger King or whatever, and then use that as experience to work in a normal restaurant. So then use that to save and try and get incorporated. In some states you can, paying taxes is a good thing. Paying taxes is great because you live in this country, you want to contribute to the well-being and the future of this country. Paying taxes is great. But you can also, just like everybody else, a lot of rich people are paying 0 in taxes. And this is how they do it. You can get around a lot of taxes. And that is by, first of all, when you work at a restaurant, in the restaurant industry, you're not going to end up paying taxes on everything because a lot of it is cash. So that's good. You want people to pay cash tips. All right. Then get incorporated. form an LLC for yourself. Treat yourself like a business owner. Even if you're gonna get a 9-to-5 job or whatever, treat yourself as a business owner, because you want to hustle on the side. You want to always be able to hustle on the side, and you're gonna treat what you do as part of your business. And because you're doing that, you can basically create a system where a lot of the things you're spending on are for your business, for whatever it is that you're doing. Like I'll tell you how it is. Like for me, let's say I kind of do like a mix of PR and marketing. So my business, I get to a lot of the things I'm spending on is like related to that. I'm going out with someone, networking, and paying money to go and meet with someone, have drinks with them. I'm traveling somewhere so that I can meet, certain people. All these things, instead of paying them myself out of my own pocket, I will pay them from a business account, business credit card, and that will go towards my business expenses, and I won't have to pay taxes on that money. So that's like a great way to avoid taxes. And then another thing is you get to, the money that you're taking in, you get to whatever. I'm not going to go into that, but we'll make another live stream on taxes. So you get to invest, you get to reinvest the money. Like a lot of these big companies like Amazon, a lot of these other big companies do that. They basically reinvest the revenue that they get, so they're basically not paying taxes on anything because it's considered like a business expense or whatever. Okay. Dan is the DC attorney I was telling you about. Dan says average LLC filing fee for all 50 states is about $150. One-time fee to set up. Yeah, it's not expensive. I've done it. It's not expensive. Just don't pay. I first tried with LegalZoom. Don't pay these third parties to set it up for you. Just do it yourself. Do it directly. Find your own registered agent directly. Do it all yourself. It's not hard. And thanks to Dan, I realized that I could just do it myself, and that's what I did. Another way to avoid taxes, in some cities like Washington, D.C., since a lot of people go to D.C. For work, right? So the rent is treated as part of the work, it's part of like the work expense. So basically in Washington, D.C., you can if you say that you are in D.C. for work or for school, which in my case is true, or for other people it's true also, then you can take your rent off of your taxes. Your rent is tax deductible basically, and that's amazing. You don't have to pay that. You get that as a return. So for me, it was really cool to learn that. I got a bunch of money back, in March, April, and that was so cool. I just got a bunch of money back, and I was like, hey, this is amazing. What else? All right, I think that's everything. I think I covered everything. Don't open credit cards, bank accounts, at least when you're starting. Don't open anything that involves fees. Don't open a personal bank account or business bank account, anything with fees. If they have fees, sometimes, I've been with a few banks. Bank of America sometimes will just add on fees. Call them and yell at them and waive the fees. Tell them you don't want any fees. If they give you fees, you're closing your bank account. They don't want you to close your bank account, so they don't want you to close your bank account, so they will actually waive your fees. That's what they do for me. So a lot of these banks, if you tell them that you are going to close your account if they add fees, then they will waive the fees. Don't allow, and they really could waive it. They do it for a lot of people. Don't be one of the people who just lets them take your money just because lets them charge you for you to give them your money. That's stupid. You shouldn't have to pay people for them to hold your money. They should pay you. They should be paying you interest. Okay? That's how it works. So no fees. No fees. Don't be part of a bank that has fees. Don't have a credit card with fees unless the rewards on the credit card that you benefit from is more than the fees. Okay? John says, I like the shine from your massive forehead. Reminds me of a satellite dish. Very interesting and pretty. Thank you for your compliment. You can also move it up and down. All right. Don't pay fees. If it has fees, make sure it's worth it. All right. And for business bank account, I recommend Axos. Aslo is stupid because their customer service is garbage, even though Aslo is the one that charges no fees plus no minimum deposit, but Axos is the one with better customer service. So even though they want you to have a minimum $1,000 initial deposit, that's fine. You know, you can do that and then you can take it out. But definitely go with that. All right, we're finished. See you all. I'm not going to have one tomorrow. Tomorrow night there's no live stream. I'm going to announce it on Twitter also. No live stream tomorrow night. See you all Monday night. Take care. Subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful evening. And also I'm coming out with a video Monday. So be excited. Video telling you about how to live stream. All right. Take care, everybody. Good night, Ira. Good night, Nate.